Gothamites, if you're new here, hi, I'm London, aka History of the Batman. On this channel, I want to start a brand new short series where I tell you Gothamites 5 essential storylines for a particular aspect of Batman's long mythology. For our first character in this series, we are going to be talking about the chilling Mr. Freeze. But before we kick some ice, why don't you subscribe to this channel and become a part of this wonderful Gothamite community. Our first essential is Batman issue 121. It introduces the freezing madman himself, but he was originally called Mr. Zero and not Mr. Freeze. And this is in the third story of 1959's Batman issue 121, written by Dave Wood and illustrated by Sheldon Moldoff. Batman and Robin have to stop Mr. Zero, a brilliant scientist who was exposed to freezing solution in a tragic accident, from committing crimes around Gotham City with his powerful ice gun. What's interesting is that Batman 121 actually framed Mr. Zero as a one-shot villain, considering in the end that Mr. Zero is actually cured of his ailment. That's probably why you don't see him for another decade, not until 1968's Detective Comics issue 373. This next essential replaces Mr. Zero with Mr. Freeze for the first time, all thanks to the popularity of the character on the live-action TV series Batman at the time. In Gardner Fox and Cheek Stone's Mr. Freeze Death Trap, the dynamic duo once again have to fight Mr. Freeze, but not just to stop his icy crime, but Bruce and Dick have to get his cryothermal gun to save Aunt Harriet's life through a cryogenic surgery. Debut of the revamped Mr. Freeze, his new cryo suit, and freeze gun for a thrilling and important Silver Age read for this character. Our next is the one-shot Batman Mr. Freeze from 1997. Although Joel Schumacher's 1997 film Batman and Robin was panned by critics, what wasn't was the comic book adaptation of the origin of this chilling character, written by Paul Dini and illustrated by Mark Buckingham and Wayne Faulkner, tells the story of scientist Mr. Freeze, who spends his research trying to save the life of his wife Nora that has a horrible life-threatening cancer. When Freeze uses tech from GothCorp and President Ferris Boyle smashes the lab, the cooling agent from Nora's cryo state forms Victor into the now vengeful Mr. Freeze. Batman not only tries to stop Freeze from going after Boyle himself, but he also really wants to try to help save Nora. Mr. Freeze's origins is based off of the Batman the Animated Series 1992 episode Heart of Ice, which was written by Dini and illustrated by Bruce Timm. And this episode and all of the origins following for the next decade turned this cold rogue into a sympathetic one for audiences and readers all around the world. Our fourth essential for Mr. Freeze is one of the best pre-New 52 modern arts, and that is J.H. Williams III and Seth Fisher's Legends of the Dark Knight book Snow, which was originally published in issues 192 to 196 in the year 2005. While this is just another retelling of Paul Dini's origin from the small screen to the comic book adaptation that we just discussed, it's an essential because you can truly feel the sadness and desperation that Victor Freeze has to try to save his wife Nora, especially when he learns that Nora is frozen in ice in a cryogenic lab. In the book, he even contemplates suicide, which I think is such a heavy mindset for one fictional character to have, but it does give us an interesting window into what can drive a good man into a criminal for the sake of his family. Our last essential for Mr. Freeze is Tom King and Lee Week's Cold Days. It was originally published in 2018's Batman issue 51 through 57. Right off the heels of Selina Kyle's Catwoman leaving Bruce Wayne's Batman at the altar, Bruce Wayne has to be the juror on a case that actually can put away Mr. Freeze for good. However, Bruce's role as the vigilante Batman is actually questioned and turns all that he knows about his own particular crusade for justice right on its head. Cold Days is such an essential to see how Bruce's humanity is actually affecting his role as Batman, in particular apprehending Mr. Freeze and perhaps even blaming him for a crime that he didn't even commit. And if that is the case, then what does that mean for the status of Batman and him protecting Gotham City to the fullest? Thank you guys so much for watching these 5 Bat Essentials on Mr. Freeze. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a bat thumbs up. As always, all of my social media is linked in the description below, including Instagram at History of the Batman. So why don't you give it a follow and become a Gothamite? Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will have more History of the Batman soon, right here on YouTube. Remember, Gothamites, all about peace, love, and Batman. Bye.